It's 7:00. Oh, we're live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Forrest Lee, and hopefully Bill will be here shortly. But on the phone, we have Mike Amos. Today is June the 17th on a Thursday morning, and want to thank you for joining us, and call your friends and tell them to tune in. And this show will be rebroadcast this afternoon at 1:30. Good morning, Mike.
Oh, it's great to be with you this morning. It's beautiful down here in Panama City Beach. The sun has just come up, and looks like it's going to be another gorgeous day here in what they call paradise.
Right. Well, this morning I could tell that it was nice and comfortable outside when I, walked to the truck to get ready to come into the studio this morning. And when I get through here, I'm gonna try to get my hair kind of cleaned up, and I'm going to pick snap beans this morning, pick maybe a couple of tomatoes and bell pepper, and I'll be taking Abby to Cartersville, Georgia. She will be flying out to Oahu, Hawaii, tomorrow afternoon about 12:30 with our cousin Jared Gilliland, who works for the railroad there in Atlanta. They're going to visit our niece, Lyra, and her family, Kai and Padraic. They'll be there for about a week or so. About 8 days, 6 to 8 days.
No, she's got to be excited.
She
when,
is.
When was the last time she went out there?
Oh, after she graduated. Let's see if I can get this one, Mike. Hang on, please. Good morning. Welcome to Today in L.A.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good. Let me see if I can get your dad back here. Good morning. Do I have both of you?
You got me?
Got me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Michael on the phone from Grayton Beach, Florida. And of course, Mike's calling in from Panama City, the Florida boys. And Bill hadn't rolled in yet. And but anyway, good morning. And
Morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to everybody on the. We're looking at Father's Day, a beautiful Father's Day, and
weekend.
I know it. On day, give me a break. She's in that way. Father's Day, we approach Father's Day.
Right.
I always say it's Father's Day week.
Father's Day week.
My kids don't realize it's been my whole week.
Yeah, and
of course it's a great. Of course, hey, it's not long before July, and then when the 4th of July comes, then everybody can start looking toward football.
Right.
And, I tell you, it's right around the corner.
Well, today is Eat Your Vegetables Day, is what it is. And tomorrow...
Eat your vegetable day, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow is Fishing Day, and you mentioned earlier that Clay Hill Farms out there between Banks and Brundage is hosting a youth fishing day. This will be Saturday, I believe it is. And then there's a fundraiser for the Miracle League here in Troy, Alabama. Contact the rec department at 566-4031. They're trying to upgrade the Miracle League park that we have here in at the rec center here in Troy, Alabama. And we understand that Crow's Chicken in Brundage is one of the finalists for the best chicken fingers in the state of Alabama. And I don't know who the other 3 finalists are, but I'm partial to them and the chicken.
That other one got to be good to compete with Crow's, I tell you.
I think the key to Crow's is that sauce. And
it had a lot to do with it, and the way they cook it.
But Patsy Gibson, she's the owner and proprietor, and I mean it is real good. If she was located on 231, she'd have to open up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So
they say that Sutton's fish hatchery had already brought a bunch of fish in and put them in the pond up at
Clay Hills.
Clay Hills.
Yeah, that's
I tell you right now. Before we move any further, how about let's salute Mr. John Darrell. John Darrell was a great man.
Yes,
He's
sir.
no longer with us, but his spirit lives on in this fish rodeo. And
right.
I tell you, a great man, John Darrell.
Yeah.
Clay Hill Farms, and he did a lot to help the people of Pike County.
Hey, Mike, when I was at the middle school, I did an angling unit, which is where you teach kids how to, throw a a rod and reel, and we had plastic devices that the Game and Fish people brought us. They brought us about 20 rod and reels, and so we practiced on the football field. So I carried 35 kids to Clay Hill Farms, and we went to the catfish pond. Well, first of all, we went to the bass pond in the morning. They have a nice bass pond out in the woods, so we had a couple of parade wagons that took us down there, and had some parents or grandparents help us, supervise. And then we came back, broke for lunch, and then we hit the catfish pond there. Well, Abby, I checked her out of school, and she was with us all day, and I had 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And here comes Bill Rice, and the coffee mugs are in the women's restroom. Bill's looking for a coffee cup.
I told him, I announced that they were out of cups
Yeah,
yesterday.
Bill's finding them a cup. But so Abby and I got to the catfish part last, and so I threw hers out there. She was in the 4th grade, 3rd or 4th grade. She said, Daddy, I got one. Well, she reeled in about 3 in a row. And the next thing I looked, there are about 30 kids surrounding us, because you know how people radiate, whoever's catching the fish, they kind of radiate toward that area.
Right.
So,
Right.
well, here's Bill, Mike. Here's Bill. Good morning, Bill.
I'm listening to you, right?
I overslept, and then had some other things that slowed me down, so I apologize. This doesn't happen yet.
Let's put Bill down for a tardy.
Yep.
Again.
As I remember correctly, you used to get a lot of those, Michael, at Charles Henderson High School.
Yeah, it was John Reeves and Michael Amos were the last two to arrive at school, and literally both of us had to be running to class in the morning because we're so late.
Again, I wanted to recognize John Darrell and all the wonderful things he did. You know, he was a big shot with in Montgomery for a long time with
Alpha.
Alpha, and he did a lot of things for Pike County kids and people that other people might not realize. And his wife Carol lives on through his wonderful memory, and to do this each year, the Kids Fishing Day. I've heard that at one time it was as many as 150 kids fishing out there at that place.
Wow.
That's,
He
Great
was.
place.
I
So Bill
remember
Rice
John
is
Doyle.
with us today. Is that right, Billy Rice?
yeah, this is Bill
Yep, I'm
Jr.
here. I woke up at 7:30, and then I was usually if I make up at 6:30. Usually if I wake up at 6:30, I can still make it to y'all by 7.
Yeah.
But I had some other issues going on, and so
Well, I woke
Let me
up
tell
at
you,
quarter
there
till
might be-
5.
There might be a few out there, but I don't know anybody that hasn't missed slept late.
But I don't even have an alarm. I just count on my.
Why not? You don't own an alarm?
Nope. And
I'm gonna buy you one.
my little flip phone doesn't. It might have one. I haven't figured out how to work it. But normally I don't. You get older, you don't sleep as late. No, I just wake up.
Right.
But last night, Mike, I stayed up working on a writing project I'm fired up about until about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't go to sleep until
I
much
know
later.
you work hard. No question.
Well,
And,
I read some interesting things on Facebook, and then I looked at, and it's on Troy Messenger. Drew Nelson has been invited to participate in the United States of America Prospect Development Pipeline League. There'll be 96 of the best high school players in the country that have been invited.
Wow.
He will report to Cary, North Carolina, the 23rd day of July. And they'll be divided up. They'll do a lot of instructional things. They'll do some classroom things. But to be one of the 96 best players in the country to try out for the USA 18 and under baseball team, that is incredible. And Drew did not fall off the turnip truck yesterday.
I don't know about those guys, but they better have a change-up if they're going to stay with Drew Nelson. And he got the best change-up I've ever seen in a pitcher.
Well, these are the best of the country, and you know, I know that family just a little bit, but I know his dad, David, is probably his number one coach and developer, and he's just comes from a tremendous family, and it's a great thing for him and Pike Liberal Arts and the city of Troy and the state of Alabama. And also Brady Huner from Charles Henderson and Goshen's Nicholas Walters are at the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association All-Star event this week at Troy University. They'll be divided up into 10 teams, and they'll play from the best players across the state of Alabama. And then hopefully they'll have their own profile from the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association website, and that can be seen by college coaches, so maybe they can hook on to a team. And,
That's become a really big event.
right.
Of course, it's Father's Day, the biggest day of the year for fathers out there, and I know a lot of excitement going on in the family about what they're going to do for Father's Day. But also, U.S. Open, the tremendous golf course.
Yeah, let's help everybody make some. Let's help everybody make some money this morning. This is scoresandodds.com. This is all your latest wagers out of Vegas. The U.S. Open field. These are your current odds. John Rahm 10-1. So John Rahm is the favorite. Of course, everybody knows the story that Rahm was up 6 strokes a couple weeks ago. Had the tournament probably pretty much won, and then actually tested positive for COVID, but he is now COVID-free. Of course, he won at Torrey Pines last year. Second, 16-1 is Dustin Johnson. Of course, Dustin Johnson has won 2 majors. Bryson DeChambeau is the U.S. Open returning champion. He's 18-1 odds. Brooks Koepka is also at 18-1. Roy McIlroy is at 20-1. Jordan Spieth at 21.
Oh, great golfers.
I picked Xander Schauffele. He's from San Diego. He's 20-1. Tara Marca is 22-1. And Justin Thomas, the great player from Alabama, who's won the Players this year, but has kind of struggled. He's 22-1.
How about the 51-year-old Phil? Phil turned 51 yesterday.
So Phil Mickelson turned 51. He is 50-1 to win it.
I think they should have said
50 to
51.
1 odds.
I think he was 300-1 to win the PGA.
Right. Put me $10 on that, please.
On that 50-1, so that's five. That's
This show is also sponsored by the Bowl Rivage MGM Sportsbook down in Biloxi, Mississippi. Also, we got an interesting number. Dad's favorite player from Baghdad, Florida, Bubba Watson, is 100-1.
Bubba Watson.
Well, you know, you can bet now. It's legal in a lot of places, and those are fun. And I always look for one long shot. The long shot I took this time was Sergio Garcia at like 150. No, yeah, 150 or more than that one. I made a $10 bet that if Sergio Garcia wins the U.S. Open, I'll win $1,500.
Uh-huh. Hey, but let me ask you this, but whether you got him, what's the odds on him?
100-1.
101. I tell you what,
100-1.
I'll take that.
Well. You can also bet on if they'll make the cut or not. That's interesting. You can bet if they'll finish in the top 5, the top 10, the top 20. You can bet amongst pairings. You know, they match up different players and say who's going to win in that day's round.
Is this in California where they play?
Yeah, but golf betting. I think golf betting is taking off.
You're playing in Mickelson's backyard. This is where the guy was raised.
Yeah, but they redesigned the course 20 years ago, and he won 3 times, and then has not won in 20 years.
Well,
I tell you a name to always look for. You can get him at 80-1 is Lee Westwood.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're right, and I'll tell you another one. If you want to take a chance on them making the cut, so forth, would be Stuart Sink.
Yep.
I'd take Will Matthews.
Consistent.
They got Stuart Sink 150-1.
Oh boy!
Hey, didn't Vanderbilt? They won the NCAA golf.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they.
Did they really?
Yeah, Vanderbilt beat, or that was ACC maybe.
Surely,
that might have been a
Will would
replay.
like
That might have been
We'll
a
be
replay.
calling in soon. Will
Must have
Matthews
been a
from
replay.
Ozark will be calling in soon, and he's the voice of the Vandy Commodores. And how many times you heard old Will say Vandy this and Vandy that?
Well, you know, they've renamed one of the college football bowls to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. It's it will be in SoFi Stadium where the LA Rams play, but it's been named after a comedian TV personality.
That's not a joke. That's for
Now
real.
this for real. This is for real. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. It will be the Mountain West champion versus a representative from the Pac-12. It was announced yesterday, and
and it's a fantastic.
Jimmy Kimmel was trying to turn in like a Bob Hope, I guess.
I guess he's got a college bowl named after him now.
Yeah.
I guess President Biden can have one.
This morning I
That's
wanted
pretty
to think a little bit about these movie stars that were big in sports, and one of them had to be Bob Hope. You know,
But
he had-
Bing Crosby.
Yep.
Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. They loved those
They
guys.
love golf. They did. That's a good. There was some
Well, the
other.
Bushes loved. Well, you know, the Bush family loved
They
baseball.
named them after celebrities. That's weird, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't Andy Williams. Then at one time they had a tournament.
Yeah,
named-
that's right. Andy Williams had one. Yes, sir.
Isn't that funny?
Andy
I remember
Williams.
that. Yeah,
Also, the guy that started St. Jude up in Memphis. You
Yeah,
know,
the
a lot.
Danny
Yeah,
Thomas.
that's right. Danny Thomas, exactly right.
man, he and that family have done God's work with the hospital, children's
Yeah,
hospital.
they really have. Yeah, that's been good.
Danny Thomas, what a great man. What a great man he was.
And his daughter Marlo, who I guess is still married.
She
to,
runs it. I think her family still runs that tournament. I want to say, but they've done wonderful things.
Well, you remember Phil Donahue, who was Oprah before Oprah? That's who she's married to. Is he still alive?
Who is that?
Yeah, I think Phil Donahue's still alive.
He just, he was as big as they come, really. And then he just voluntarily retired, and just you never heard from him for the last 30 years or barely.
Of course, we've got just a wonderful weekend. It looks beautiful down here. I don't know what it is out in California, but the great thing about this tournament being in California, you can watch golf all night long. Is that right, Mike?
Oh yeah, it'll be over about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then you'll be able to watch
Turn it back
post game on the Golf Channel to about midnight, probably.
Well, who do y'all like?
You get to see your favorite commentator, Brandel Chamblee.
Well, I was going to ask you who your favorite commentator was, and Chamblee is really good, but I like old boy that old Georgia boy.
David Duvall.
No,
Yeah, he's
I
on there
like
too.
David Duvall, but I like I reckon he went to he played at
Yeah, I like the golf.
Wake Forest. He played at Wake Forest.
Oh,
You like Lanny Watkins.
Yeah, Lanny Watkins. I like Lanny Watkins. Have you ever heard him commentate?
He does the senior tour, Vince.
that's
I know,
good
but
though.
he's a real. He's so knowledgeable, but this wasn't Lanny. Now, this wasn't Lanny. This was his buddy. What's his buddy's name?
Curtis Strange.
Curtis Strange.
Curtis Strange. Have you ever heard him commentate about golf?
Yeah.
He is really, really good.
You know who's really, really good that has done it, filled in once or twice? Phil Mickelson, which is not surprising.
Well, a lot of people say that's what he's going to do when he retires, but Phil's way bigger than that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but he's so smart.
Faldo won 6 majors, and Faldo's on there with Nance, but I'm sure a lot of people would like Mickelson
And
with Nance.
Faldo's good, and Faldo's good, but I don't think he's good as they are. Of course, Johnny Miller. I like Johnny Miller, and a lot of people didn't like Johnny Miller at all, but I really like Johnny Miller.
Yeah, he was kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah,
Faldo.
He would say something that was. Go ahead.
Faldo was he seems so cool and aloof as a player, but he's very likable and as a commentator. It seems like his personality, you see a completely different part of his personality now that he's on TV.
I like the ones that are not afraid to say something about him. And Miller would always stay in the doghouse with people like Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe they get Charles Barkley, because Barkley's upset with they're trying to silence some of the things that he says. He's been talking about San Antonio women, and he's jokes, and he said you can't kid anymore. It offends too many people. I'm getting out when I'm 60. He said they can fire me now. Charles Barkley.
That's what's made Charles so beloved and so rich.
It's real.
He doesn't need to change. He better not change.
That's an article.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something.
about
Michael,
it.
I'm going to tell you something that Michael probably remembers it more than I do. But Michael and I, we went to an Auburn football game, and we walked over to look at the gymnasium, new facilities and everything. And there was by himself, was just sitting there by himself was a great one.
Barkley.
And Barkley, and he had a conversation with us about 5 minutes, and it was just like talking to you, Forrest. He was just laid back and very nice guy. Didn't you think, Mike?
I'll be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I sat pool next to him one night in Birmingham for about an hour, and talked to him back and forth. He was actually a pretty good pool player, but I didn't play against him. But we were playing at tables right next to each other.
If everybody was like him, we'd be a much better place to live.
I've always heard
really
that about
fine,
Barkley, that he's real approachable and super nice. And so too many people have said it for it not to be true.
And your boys from Troy, Alabama, and just think how many people that day would have loved to have had a conversation with him, you know.
Well, then, let's talk about this, y'all's brushes with greatness. We know that you pumped gas next to and had a conversation with George Steinbrenner. You've chit-chatted with Charles Barkley. Who else have you talked to? Your buddies with all the Bowdens.
We stood next to a fence about 5 feet from Wade Boggs at spring training when I was in junior high. I talked to him for about 20, 30 minutes about master rack deer hunting. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. And also the third baseman, with Boggs, you were talking about Boggs, weren't you?
Yeah, I talked to Ben Roethlisberger in Vegas for a while one time.
He threw you up.
Right.
Didn't he throw you up? Who was that that threw you the pass?
That was Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah. And I tell you, you're right.
I need to get out more.
Who have you? What are some of your? Who is your most famous person you've talked to?
I also met Dikembe Mutombo, the big 7'3" basketball player in Atlanta during the Olympics one time.
Yeah.
Y'all aren't gonna ask me.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm a journalist, so I've got to interview some people. I would say at the top of the list, I really got a kick out of spending time with Bo Cephas during his recording session in Almeria.
And a lot of people don't realize that Bo Cephas came to my front door. Bo Cephas did.
I've interviewed Bart Starr and Hank Aaron and
oh God,
Henry Lewis.
I met Coach Bryan a couple of times when I was a kid. I guess that counts. I go on and on, but
no, it's interesting. It's interesting to find out about these people. You know.
I remember I interviewed Hal Heflin once at Mr. J's in Troy when he was a senator. He was a famous senator too during some of these hearings.
Yeah.
And he started coughing and choking during that meal, like I've never seen anybody cough and choke. I really thought I was going to have to do the Heimlich maneuver on him. Mm-hmm. And he had him and one aide, and he just went on for about 4 minutes. So I was really, really embarrassed and scared. And then he stopped, and then he just continued talking like nothing had ever even taken place.
I met a lot of golfers, senior golfers, through my sister Camille when she ran the Bruno's Memorial Classic in Birmingham. I know I met Chichi Rodriguez. I met Lee Trevino.
You got the guy. Mike,
met Alan Dole before.
with me that day that shot
Will
the
Matthews.
59, and nobody else has ever shot a 59.
Yeah, a lot of people have now though. Al Geiberger.
Yeah, Guy Burger. And I love, like you said, Chi Rodriguez. I remember those. Boy, you talk about a guy that was an entertainer. He was something.
Did you say you've hung out with Kenny Stabler before?
Oh yeah, I have hung out with him in Marion, Alabama, more than once. He'd have his camp in Marion, and he would, he would. It was more or less everybody was in shorts, and you could tell that the guy was in shape. He was really in shape. But back those days, everybody thought that it was that he had a little, con in him or something like that. But hey, to my knowledge, as nice as he was, he's a very nice guy.
He's babysat.
I met one of my favorite
Tompkins
actresses
before.
in Birmingham one night, Juliana Moore.
Yeah, really.
Juliana Moore,
You ought to hear the people in Montgomery. You remember they made the movie
She won Oscars.
The movie The Big Fish was filmed in Wetumpka in Montgomery, and a lot of people in Montgomery have got famous actor stories. They got to know a lot of these famous actors that when they were filming, and the director Tim Burton. It's like Steve Buscemi, who was in Fargo and a lot of other things. Great actor. Michael will know Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, he's also on The Sopranos.
I know people that would just sat down and drank beer for a long time at the bar Bud's right next to Steve Buscemi.
This reminds me of stars that died too soon, and one of them, my favorite, was Candy. I love John Candy. He died too soon. So did my buddy
Belushi.
Belushi. He was a great one. They died too soon. Of course, they had a lot to do with. But Candy, anything that he was in, he did a great job. But he died too soon. Clint Eastwood died. Wait a minute, not Clint Eastwood, but.
Well, there's a lot of these. It's striking to think of the Saturday Night Live actors and alumni that died way too early. Candy actually wasn't on Saturday Night Live, but John Belushi is, just one of them.
Was it Montgomery Cliff or the guy in Giant? What's the guy in Giant? The
Chris Farley was,
who was outlaw and
Barley.
remember the.
I was looking up. Nick Faldo makes $8 million a year working for CBS. Can you imagine what they had to pay Mickelson?
No wonder he doesn't play on the seniors tour.
Just to commentate, they pay him $8 million a year just to talk about God.
Shoot, they pay Tony Romo. They pay Tony Romo like $16, $17 million for football.
And I'm gonna tell you, Faldo is really not that good at it. I like him, but he rarely finishes his sentences, and
exactly.
But $8 million, wow.
he pulls out a 7-iron. Here's the shot. It's 10 feet away. Fantastic shot.
You know who's better than all of them is the guy from Australia that is also on the telecast that won a.
Ian Baker Fitch.
Ian Baker Fitch is really good. He's better than Faldo. I bet he doesn't make
I wonder what they pay. The guy now that's got the pretty curls. What do they pay him? You think?
The pretty curls.
Yeah. The guy that's the one of the anchor guys now. Now he's not on the air as much, but he is on TV.
Jim Nance.
What sport?
Nance, but what's his name, Mike? The cutie pie guy.
Cutie pie guy.
I don't know.
What sport does he do?
On TV now, the guy that works at night usually commentates. Just on the set. You mentioned his name just.
Faraday? Not Faraday.
No.
Faraday is really.
You talking about Tony Romo?
He's talking about a golf commentator, I think.
The ESPYs are coming up.
Randall, Mike. Randall.
Oh, Brandon Chamblee? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how much money do they pay him, you reckon?
Who knows? I think the Golf Channel has done well.
He's the guy that never even won a PGA Tour then.
I know, yeah, but he's a sort of a cutie pie guy, dresses sharp, you know.
He's a guru.
Yeah.
Are the ESPYs next week? The ESPYs Alabama has 3 categories that they're in.
Tell us.
Best team category, you got the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're competing against the Buccaneers, the Stanford Cardinal women, the Baylor Bear men's, the Oklahoma Sooner softball, Seattle Storm of the WNBA, and the LA Dodgers.
Go Bama! I think Alabama can win this one.
The best college athlete.
What is it?
These are the ESPYs.
The ESPN's big awards,
Yeah,
and it's
ESPY.
the best sports team of the year. Out of all the sports, and Alabama's in the running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, best college athlete men: Devonta Smith, Alabama; Luca Garza, Iowa basketball; Glamore Armanda, Oregon State soccer; Trevor Lawrence, Clemson football; and best record-setting performance: Devonta Smith, Alabama, set the record for 12 catches, TD receptions 3. He totaled 215 yards in the national championship game, and that was just the first half.
That was the first half.
Stanford's Tara Vanderveer passing Pat Summitt. Phil Mickelson winning the PGA.
This must be best
Record-setting
best
performance.
event, okay.
It's probably Phil. Russell Westbrook, who broke Oscar Robinson's 47-year-old triple-double. So those are for the ESPYs. And in Major League Baseball, there was a record set last night. The Arizona Diamondbacks have lost their 22nd consecutive road game. That tied a record with the 1943 Philadelphia Athletics and the 1963 New York Mets. So
And
congratulations.
they've actually tied the record.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And they'll probably break the record next time they play. So
Don't let Rice know about it, because Rice will go put $10 on it.
Yeah, you can get prop bets on the golf too, like on the odds of somebody hitting the hole in one in the U.S. Open, things like that.
You know, we've thought about changing the name of our show to Shooting the Bull. Shooting the Bull.
Yeah, that's what
And we're having fun this morning on
I'll
this
tell you
day in
a
LA.
prop bet I did take. Was who will win the U.S. Open? Somebody who is not from America, a non-American. You could get plus 145, which meant that you could bet $10 and win $14.50 if you won it.
I would take the little guy from, I reckon he's from Australia.
Well, I took it, so I'm getting the whole. So I'm getting John Rahm is not from America, so all these British golfers and South African golfers. But that's the type of bets that you can get.
I guess they'll tee off about, 10 or 11 o'clock our time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Forrest, what kind of weekend have we got in store for Brundage Country Club?
Well, it's probably going to be wet. I think we're supposed to get a lot of rain Saturday. But I work Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We had 2 pretty good days. But like I said earlier, I'll be traveling to Cartersville, Georgia, the home of Trevor Lawrence.
All right.
Or
Is that where
hometown.
he's from?
He's from
What
Cartersville.
kind of town is that?
It is a beautiful town. I have a nephew that lives there, and Cartersville would remind you of a Troy times 4 downtown. A railroad runs through it. They have all
Dothan,
kind of.
maybe, or
No, it's
Opelika,
very
Auburn.
aesthetic. They got a lot of shops, restaurants,
Daphne,
eateries.
Fairhope.
They got a cigar
Sounds
bar.
like Fairhope.
They got a cigar place. I've never been to downtown Fairhope in a long, long time.
Man,
But
that's where the beautiful people live. I mean, the beautiful people live with Michael in Florida and the beaches of 38, but in Alabama they live in Fairhope.
yeah. But anyway,
You know-
I'll be taking Abby to Cartersville today. She's flying out to Hawaii tomorrow afternoon about 12:30, and
This is where your wife's from. Is
well, she's from Manchester. She's from Manchester, Georgia. home of the Blue Devils, and that's where she's from. And I was teaching at Manchester Middle School, living in Warm Springs, Georgia, where Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed away, and that's where they have a big rehab facility for
That's not far
injuries.
That's not far
Callaway.
from the Alabama border, is
Yeah,
it?
Callaway Gardens. She grew up about 15 miles from Callaway Gardens. She used to work there in the summer,
Hey,
scooping
Roosevelt,
ice cream.
FDR went up there quite often.
That's
I think.
right. He went to rehab.
Well,
up there.
there,
He passed away when he was up there. About.
Yeah.
Then
You know,
Roosevelt-
It says Brandel Chambly only makes $200,000 a year working for the Golf Channel.
Well, how do you find that out? That's amazing that you found that out. so quick.
that's right.
He also was an All-American golfer at Texas, and he's 58 years old, and he is on his second marriage. He fell in love with another golf announcer named Bailey Moser, and they are now married, and she is 34 years old. So there's a
Isn't it unreal how you can find out
24 year age difference.
Good for Brandon.
Yeah, good for Brandel.
I tell you.
Brandel.
Good for her.
Good for
You
her.
mean you said his wife is 24 years old? No way. Is it?
24 years age difference.
yeah.
34.
That's all
Well,
right.
yeah, you're right.
That's even longer than you. That's even longer than you, right?
Yeah, I got 17.
And let's just say this on these computers on our telephones. It seems like you can find out anything about somebody.
You know, look, I would like to get paid $200,000 a year to go to all the cool golf tournaments and just talk about golf and hang out with all those.
I tell you what, why don't we come up with somebody right now that's unusual and let one of these guys, either Mr. Lee or Mr. Amos, find out about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how fast they can find out good information. But Golf Channel has, you know what they're known for? They have these cerebral people they're not your typical commentators. They are on another plane and level. I enjoyed it. It's intelligent conversation, which I like. Not that I ever contribute to it, but I like listening to it.
You know, back to Randall Chambly. You know that for the kind of money they pay these TV people, you would think he'd make more than $200,000 a year. But and compared to somebody like Mickelson or somebody like that would do it, well, they'd have to pay him $20 million. But
yeah, well,
Pretty close, yeah. At least 15, I would think.
well, the Golf Channel does not have the revenue and the profitability as CBS.
Well, I tell you what we're doing. Let's go on break, but when we come back, let's think of people that we can find out information about that other people out there would like to know. And we'll be right back.
Brandel Chambly, we're talking about you today. He can be watching right now in Torrey Pines, California.
Guys, let's come on. Are we off the air?
No, I'm just waving. I'm waving
they-
waving to Brandel and all the crew at the Golf Network,
Mike,
Curtis Strange, and all those guys.
Come up with different people that you know on the computer, and just people just learn who these people are. It's fun.
Well, Mike, they got a good picture of you on the screen of you
Yeah,
holding
that's
up a
very
song, finger, number one, like it's.
I'm doing the
There's only
big.
about
I'm
three
doing a
persons.
feature story on Mike in the Troy Life magazine that's coming out next month, and that would be a good picture that they're running on the screen to run in that magazine article.
Yeah, well, good. And I'll have some pictures made if you
Good,
need
Steve. I might want to get that from you.
Yeah.
But then, of course, let's find out how can we find out about different people on this on our computers. Y'all can do it. I can't do it, but y'all can do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. I want to thank you for tuning in for Today in LA, and we'll be back after these messages.
Heck, I thought we.
$29 down and payment as low as $99 a month. Yes. Now through Monday, $29 down and $99 a month. Yeah. $29 delivered. Only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
This is my chart from Southeast Health.
And you're going to want to make it yours.
Not because it's free,
but because it's priceless. Because with my chart, you can schedule appointments online with your provider.
You can email your provider and get answers.
Get test results.
Refill prescriptions.
And manage your family's health care.
You know how we all want healthcare to be easier?
But no one seems to listen?
Well, someone did. Southeast Health.
To get your free MyChart app,
visit your app store or go to southeasthealth.org.
When it comes to surgery, precision is perfection. The very latest technology available ensures the best possible outcome. The Mako robotic arm-assisted surgery system is now available at Troy Regional Medical Center. Skilled orthopedic surgeon Dr. Robert L. Liljeberg and his team provide patients with faster recovery and better movement after a knee replacement surgery. When accuracy matters, you deserve the very best. Troy Regional Medical Center.
$29 down and payment as low as $99 a month. Yes. Now through Monday, $29 down and $99 a month. Yeah. $29 delivered. Only at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal.
That Dog Show brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass in Troy. And, of course, appreciate Jason Gregory and all the people out there. Wonderful people to work with, and they'll find you a truck today. Still going on, $29 a month. $29 down and $99 a month. You can ride away in one of these beautiful used cars trucks at Premier.
You know, Mike, I found I'm looking at your picture that Steve's put up. You're waving. You got the #1 sign on the screen. That's when you survived a scary health situation. But then I look over behind me on the set, and then I find this Charles Henderson foam giant cutout of Ray's #1 finger, and it's from the Charles Henderson Trojans 1980 state championship
41
team.
years old.
Well,
I got that at a friend of mine gave me that.
You keep this. This is valuable.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
And matter of fact, I'll autograph it because I was on that team.
Yeah, shouldn't you give that to Rice since he was on the team?
Yeah. You might have the only one of those left in the world.
I know a lot about that team, and I followed it. And, that team was extremely, and I mean this, extremely well coached. Jeffcoat, in a no-huddle offense, they didn't throw it hardly. They might have thrown it once or twice a game, but they ran a no-huddle wishbone offense led by a little old bitty quarterback that weighed about 150 pounds, and then a running back, Jerry Beverly, that weighed about 180 pounds.
That's right. They were talking about Barry Tucker and then Jerry Beverly.
Barry Tucker.
Jerry was a tailback the year before because Buddy Austin was the fullback.
Yeah.
And then, but Coach Jeffcoat's going to give the ball to the fullback in that wishbone. So he put his best runner. He made him into a fullback. He was a tall, skinny guy, and he probably put on as much weight as he could. But I bet you he played fullback at 6'1", 180.
Yeah.
He didn't look like a typical fullback.
I tell you what, you're exactly right. That whole team.
Willie Collins.
Like that. Willie Collins was a great one on that team, no question about him. Shiver, I thought the linebacker was an excellent linebacker.
That's Neil Armstrong's brother-in-law.
Here are the scores.
Oh yeah.
You beat up.
And I knew Shiver's daddy, and he was a great guy, old Troy guy, and I used to love to see him at the games.
Was it Shiver or Shaver?
Shiver.
Lloyd Shaver.
Shiver.
Paul Shiver. He lives in Auburn now. All right, Forrest can give us all the scores.
Was Lori Shiver?
I'm not sure.
Is that Rebecca Grove? I thought Rebecca Grove was named Lori Shaver.
She was a shaver, Michael.
There's another family that's some shavers, but there's shavers and shivers, just one letter off.
Okay. I had them mixed up then.
And then
Right, but Forrest is going to run through the scores of the whole season. So y'all listen, and now listen to how good. And these were all the scores he's getting ready to give you against teams. These were all good teams, and that's why we beat Hartselle.
Yep.
Hartselle blew everybody out all year, and in the playoffs. Now look how close some of our scores were.
All right. At Opp, you won 32-13. Carroll, you won in overtime. At home, 13-6.
Let me tell you the backstory there. About 10 players were sick with the flu. Those wasn't that good that year. That was a shocker. That could have ruined the season. But we had a flu outbreak on the team, and a lot of people didn't play, and some played that were sick. All right.
You traveled to Ashford. You won 25-6. You had Slocum at home. You won 43-28. At Andalusia, 14-7.
Andalusia was good.
And see, that was Donnie Sharp. Donnie Sharp coaching Andalusia's team too.
Home versus Elba. Charles Henderson beats Elba 13-0.
And the great Don Horsted only played 2 plays.
Yeah, he was a great.
At Dale County, 33-3 win. Home versus Geneva, 21-12.
Man, y'all are playing some smaller schools. Well, at least they're small now.
Yeah.
Back then, were they bigger schools?
No, they
Well,
weren't.
your area.
Y'all played Ashford, Slocum, and who else was it? Another small school?
Geneva.
Yeah.
Geneva, yeah.
Here were their area opponents: Opp, Ashford, Andalusia, and Dale County. That says area. It's got an asterisk.
They were
by it.
just 3A, Mike. They were 3A. They were 3A. They were
3 out of 4.
There were only 4 classifications back then.
All right. Then you defeated Stanhope Elmore at home 22-8 to finish the regular
They had a
season.
great bet on that team.
That was Halloween night, and then you had an open on the 7th before the playoffs. First round of the playoffs at home versus Eufaula, you won 12-10.
A lot of close games. Low scoring. You notice a lot of low scoring games.
At Greenville, you won 15-12. Did somebody kick a field goal? 15-12.
You noticed?
No, I think that must have been a touchdown
8
and
to
a
7.
2-point conversion.
Okay.
So Greenville back then wasn't in Troy's area?
This was in the playoffs. No, I guess
That's
not.
what I'm saying. They say you wouldn't play Greenville in the regular season. That's strange.
In the
Greenville had a
semifinals,
very good team too.
Ooh, yeah. They were.
in the semis against Stanhope Elmore again, you defeated them 22-8 in the regular season, the last game of the regular season. But then the semifinals, you won at home 28-8.
I got to play in that game.
This was Stanhope Elmore.
No, sir.
Yeah, Stanhope Elmore in the
Stanhope, yeah,
semifinals.
yeah. And the finals at
They're coached
Hartselle.
by Jeff Fauché.
At Hartselle for the championship. Charles Henderson 14, Hartselle 7.
So you look at the most games. Charles Henderson was scoring 2 touchdowns or 3. I mean, it was the defense that really, looking back, that won that.
Here's a kicker.
Get the ball back.
Your opponent's
Get the ball back. Troy just kept it.
Your opponent's record was 82 and 58.
Bush ball offense,
really?
they
And
just
3.
kept the ball away from their opponent.
I've never heard that. So our opponents ended up going 82-58.
82, 58, 3.
I remember Opp was good, Andalusia was good, Greenville was good, Elba was good.
Eufaula was good.
Eufaula was good. Stanhope Elmore was
good.
Here we go. Here's their records. All right, Charles Henderson finished 13-0, Ashford 6-4, Opp finished 8-2, Elba finished 7-3, Andalusia finished 6-4, Dale County finished 0-10. Daleville finished 8-1, and Geneva finished 3-7. So.
And then you get into then you talk about Greenville, Eufaula, and the playoffs, and then Hartselle was undefeated.
Yeah. All right, listen to
But
this.
if y'all didn't get state championship rings, what did they give y'all?
Nothing. We got a little plaque.
That's hard to believe that like a booster club wouldn't have got y'all state championship rings.
I think they need to go
You
back.
know what they ought to do? They ought to go back and give those boys a ring. You know that. Regardless
Some people got one.
That'd be a great fundraiser. I'd give money to that.
Some of the people's parents got them one, but yeah, there's no ring given to anybody.
Here were some of the opposing coaches. Listen to these names. At Geneva was Lionel Fayard. At Daleville was Julius Head.
Yeah, he would later coach the Goshen.
At Ayrton, I believe Dale County was Alan Quinn. Andalusia's coach says Rick Rhodes.
And with Rick Rhodes that year.
That's what it says. Matt Wood was at Elba. Kenneth Lord was at Ashford. And, of course, J. Jeffcoat was head coach at Charleston. So it's got all kind of stuff on there.
See, Mr. Forrest Lee can find this information.
That's under the Alabama High School High School Associate. You can type in Alabama football history. This website pops up.
And I will tell you this: the year before was the guy named Buddy Austin as his fullback and Beverly as the tailback. They went either 8-1 or 9-1 the year before. They were
I think it was 8-2, Mike. And so you can see the programs. Watch these programs that are on the trajectory. I think that Rush's the year before that was Rush's senior year. I think Coach Jeffcoat's first year. I think they went 3-7. Not good, but you could tell at the end of that Rush's senior year that they were starting to get good. Rush was starting to get good, much better than he was at the start of the season.
What position did Rush play?
He played offensive tackle. He played his last high school football game when he was 16 years old. He hadn't even turned 17. So if Rush would have not, I guess he started school earlier. If he had not done that, he would have had another year of high school football under J. Jeffcoat, and Rush would have been a Division I football player.
All right. The year before, Coach Jeffcoat was 8-2. He lost 35-0 against Enterprise, and Charles Henderson lost to Elba 24-20. They went 8-2. That was his second year, and his first year, like you said, he was 3-7 or 3-8. Yeah.
I remember it. But they got that team the year before. They lost to Elba, and you know what Elba's famous for, right? Or infamous for the home cooking with the referees.
Oh yeah.
So that was a close game that I don't think Charles Henderson.
Mag Wood was a great coach. Mag Wood was one of the best coaches to ever coach in this part of the country, and he built Elba into a dynasty.
Yeah, he sure did. And I can't remember the year. I seemed like somebody that year before the state championship team beat Charles Henderson fairly handily, but 8-2 the year. So Enterprise, yeah, big old Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's hard to believe. It's like Elba, as far as their students compared to Charles Henderson, wouldn't it have been close? It seemed like Charles Henderson would have had way more students than Elba. They were in the same area.
Yeah.
Man, that was a Mike.
So they were not 3A back then. They were playing 1 or 2A.
No, Elba was 3A.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Elba was 3A.
Yeah, Elba was probably
Elba was. Elba was
wow.
big, much bigger then, and then it was only 3. They were in the same. They were in 3A. They weren't 2A. I'll tell you the game. They came to Charles Henderson, and they had a running back named Don Horsted that later played at Alabama.
Right.
That was he was a hoss, man. He averaged about 10 yards every time he got the ball. He was physical, fast, the complete package. And so everybody knew about Don Horst. He was just as good or better than Kincaid Pennington. And so Charles Henderson Elba was a huge game, and I remember that Memorial Stadium was almost full when Charles Henderson played Elba. I would say it was 85% full. The Elba, the whole town of Elba.
Back when it was 12,000 seats.
Yeah,
those days are gone.
But still, that was still a big high school stadium back then, and so
yeah.
Charles Henderson had bigger crowds at those games than Coach Bradshaw was getting at Troy University that season.
Listen to the year after the state championship, finished 6-4, but here are the losses. You lost 8-3 to Carroll. Charles Henderson lost 7-6 to Andalusia.
God.
Then they lost to Elba 15-7. Then they lost to Stanhope Elmore 20-7. So realistically, they were in all those games. Could have went undefeated.
Well, I didn't go to my senior year in 1982. too, and Stanhope Elmore beat us comfortably. But every other game we went 5-5, but we could have gone 9-1 easily.
Let me just tell you.
Charles Bradshaw, Jim Williford, John Williford, Scott Radney.
I watched him play. He had a torn up knee. His knee was just, they had wrapped up, and he could hardly walk. And let me tell you this, he still ran all over Charles Simpson that night.
Don Horsted?
It was one of the most unreal games I've ever seen individual play.
Who was that?
When Ted Horsted played against Charles Simpson, and he hit on one leg.
He was talking about Don Horsted.
Yeah, Don Horsted, not Ted.
Well, the way I remember is he had an ankle injury, and
that's right. It was an ankle injury or a knee injury.
And he played, but he only played for like one series, and then he re-aggravated it. Thank goodness, because in that one series, you could tell that. That.
Well, I watched the game. I thought he actually came in and ran the ball a lot more than just one time.
You don't think they played Ted, do you? Was Ted and him that were they were like a couple of years apart?
Well, Ted was a linebacker coming out of high school. He was a linebacker. He wasn't. I don't believe they played him as a running back at all.
Yeah, I knew he played linebacker. I didn't know if he played running back some too.
All he did was become one of the greatest players to ever play fullback at Troy University.
You know, before Don Horsted, though, you know, the famous Elba player used to be a famous Troy player, a guy named Russ Wood. You know, Mac Wood coached at Charles Henderson. And,
sure
you know, Russ Wood was he was a tight end and a linebacker. And he actually went to Alabama in his freshman year. They played him at tight end. Mike, you know, they switched him to
Coach Bryant loved him, and I can hear John Forney. He gets hit and knocked down by Russ Wood at the Alabama 14-yard line. And Russ Wood, the youngster from Elba, is being lifted up off the ground by Coach Paul Bryant across the way.
He I think Russ moved from Troy after his 9th grade year, if I'm correct, and went to Elba.
And let me tell you what one thing that his team that he played on did. They snapped Andalusia's 58-game winning streak.
Who is it?
Elba snapped Andalusia's winning streak.
Hey, we got Max calling in. Do y'all want to? Should we?
Yeah, bring him in.
Yeah, well, but one of y'all's
got to. I can drop off.
Well, hang on. He'll call back in a minute. We lost him.
Tell him to call back, Steve. Michael said he'll drop off.
Yeah. It says Russ Wood.
I don't mind dropping off.
1997, he was All-State at Elba, and in 1977, 78, Don Horsted.
Well, they've got Russ wrong because he graduated in 1979 with Rush and Mark Davis and Danny Lee, Fleabag Lee. All right, hold on, let's see. When are y'all gonna have to leave? Let's put. All right. Hey, good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
This is Max. How are you this morning?
Max.
Great, Max. Good to hear from you.
We're going.
Hold on a second. Let me get one more caller on.
You got him.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
We got.
All right. Who do we got on the air? We got Max Howell on one line. And I bet Mike
Amos on the other line.
All right.
Hey, Coach.
Well, Max, what's on your mind?
Hey, getting back close to football season. That's why I started calling.
That's right.
You know,
I'm a one-trick pony now. I don't do basketball. I do a little baseball, but not a lot.
You know, I can read through the lines though. I think you got some opinions about the world situation in politics too. But you're smart enough to keep them. Smart enough to keep them to yourself largely.
Well, you're right. I'm leaving it at that this morning.
Good morning, Max. It's Mike Amos calling in from beautiful Panama City Beach this morning. It's gorgeous down here.
Well, I'm glad you're there, Mike. How you doing?
Doing good, doing real good. And, of course, like you said, June will be out of here before long, and then we're talking about the 4th of July. I think most football teams across the country really start getting serious after the 4th of July.
Wait, I want to interrupt you, Mike. I don't think we've talked to Max since we had the big news of college football which is they're going to expand the playoffs to 12 teams in a couple of years. Max, what's your first thoughts about that?
Well, I've been a proponent of expansion from 4 anyway, but I really thought that as conservative as both of those guys are, that they'd have taken that in steps, maybe go to 6 or 8 the first time, and then, wait. But I think probably what happened, the pandemic caused such a stir financially in so many schools that they're looking for a way to try to recoup that money quickly as possible, and with as many schools as possible. And I think playing on campus, for the first round, I think it's a part of the proposal. I think that'll help also. But 12 is I think what they did at that, in all fairness, guys, they wouldn't go ahead and get it out of the way. The committee did, so they won't have to address it for another 10 or 15 years.
And another thing people don't think about, Max, is that 12, you start losing the quality of play.
That's true. Well,
that's really 12 great football.
Oh, I think we saw, and I think it was evident this past year. Once you got past 5, we had 1 or 2 complaints after 4, but once you get past 5, that was. Look, when the bowl system started taking teams from less than 500 to play just to get a bowl game, and they had 40 bowls to fill, that waters down. Now, let me clarify that statement first. It waters down for the general public. It takes nothing away from the teams that make the bowl games, for the players, basically for their fan base, to get a chance to make a trip. I'm all for that. I was fortunate enough to be involved in some really big ones at the national championship level, and I've seen this down from all the way from the high school level, when we were in the Scambian had the number 1 team in the country. So I think I've had a great enough experience level there to say that some of the modifications had to take place. The 12 number, I can live with that personally, and I'm excited to take a look at it. But Mike, you're absolutely right. Once you get past 5 or 6, from a national viewing standpoint, the people in California are tired of the Pac-12 never getting in and always looking at Alabama. I mean, that's just a natural factor that's played into it. So I'm hoping the top 4 or 5 is going to remain the same. You're going to have Alabama, Oklahoma, Ohio State.
Clemson.
Clemson. I would like to see maybe Texas get back here, maybe Southern Cal, maybe Michigan at some point in time. I don't think Harbaugh is a guy that can ever do it. But I think there'll be some changes there, because here's what will happen, in my opinion, that every game will mean something now. First of all, how they, if you read the suggestions on that first interview that they had with some of the committee members, that they're going to take the highest ranked team in each conference, not necessarily the conference champion. So that means, you may have a team that has won the conference championship because they win, but they lost 2 or 3 ball games outside the league, and the overall record didn't want to, didn't warrant them being ranked nationally. So I think a lot of things like that they're going to have to work out between them in the next 2 years.
Well, chances are the SEC might have 3.
That's exactly
and
right.
If one of those teams ranked number 5 through 12 will play 17 games,
well,
it could happen.
The first that pops in my mind is Georgia. They need to play 17 games because they ain't ever going to win at Lowe's Derby's there.
Max has been saying that. He's probably right, though. I listened to Max.
So what would be the Georgia Clemson game? Don't they open up? Who's going to win that? And
I tell you what, whoever wins,
that's a big game.
Yeah, that's huge. But let me tell you, it's just an observation. Alabama needs to hang 40 on Miami just to keep that number 1 spot secure.
Hey, that's
if they go in with the voters across the country, put them number 1, but not really sold that they're going to be number 1 because they lost so many players. They need to win that, because otherwise, if Clemson at number 2 wins, I think they'll probably stay. If Georgia upsets Clemson, though, I think Georgia moves to 2, maybe even to 1, because the writers want Georgia to be there. they want them to be there. You swallow them.
Yeah.
But I've watched it too long, and I got too many close friends.
You know, you make a good point that all your points are good, but Clemson Georgia winner will probably vault to number one unless Alabama is super impressive against Miami.
That's my point, Bill.
And I hope Alabama starts the season number one at least. You know why? Because that would be 14 years in a row that Alabama has been number one at some point in the season, which is one of the most mind-boggling records Saban has.
But Georgia,
well, I watched about a half a dozen spring games, and even though they got a lot of talent this year, they got a lot of kids that have played, maybe not necessarily started.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at this schedule; the schedule works out very, very good. I still think they got a great chance to win it all again this year, even with a freshman quarterback. But I think the defense is going to be better. I think it'll be. I don't think they'll average 40 points a game this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I don't know how they could put any team over Alabama until Alabama loses.
Well, I know, Mike, but you know what's happened? They use those writers, use everything they can to keep, not to justify putting them on. They're going to use how many guys that went to the NFL. The starting quarterback never taken 28 snaps. I mean, I can go through the whole list of why some writers won't. Now, I personally think that they may slide in there at number one and stay, but I'm going to tell you, you let them squeak by Miami, let them beat Miami, 21-13 or something like that, and Georgia beat Clemson, Georgia beat number one next week.
Well, I've looked at Alabama's schedule pretty closely, and Alabama's got a tough road early on. Miami is no slouch. They are going to be a top 10, top 12 team, and they got a ton. Max, if you might not know, that they've probably done better than any team in this transfer portal. Miami,
except Georgia. But it's the quality of players they've got.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I've tracked those guys. I've watched that Miami program since when I was at Florida State. We were number one. Went down there and they beat us.
Yeah.
That first ball game. We ended up number 3 in the country that year. But I'm just telling you, the quality of that program under Diaz is not the old Miami team. Just remember that.
Okay.
Well, one thing about Georgia, if they beat Clemson, then they have UAB, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, Tennessee. They'll run the tables. They will run the tables until the SEC championship game.
Well, it will be Florida would be the only team that you'd look at right off the top of your head.
Florida will be spiraling by then, I think.
Not with Emory Jones.
So you're right. Really, Georgia has maybe a 1-game, 2-game season, but Alabama getting back to Miami. Alabama's going to be a 17-point favorite, but Miami's still going to be a top 12 team. Then Alabama plays Texas A&M and Florida at the first 5 or 6 games, and also they got Ole Miss, which I think Ole Miss is going to be a little highly touted this year.
Yeah,
that's 4 pretty tough teams in the first 6 weeks of your schedule.
You better have a good backup quarterback, everybody, because playing that many games, you better have somebody.
Playing Florida in the swamp. Texas A&M is supposed to be good. Miami's, you're right.
LSU,
there's
Auburn.
Miami they have got a quarterback that is really good if he's healthy. He hurt his knee in the bowl game, but they say he's going to be back playing.
Yeah. Well, he's a runner. He's already been cut on Woods. In Alabama's this year. I like Alabama. The 17 points is a reason, and I think it'll be 21 to 28 points.
But you made a point I haven't heard anybody else make about the playoff, and then the light just went off. Why did this happen? It happened because of this COVID stuff and the fear of everybody taking a huge hit on the money. We don't even know how scared they must be behind closed doors of all the money they've lost.
Very true.
And so they got to recoup that as fast as they can. You're right.
Yep, I think that was a driving factor in the thing. Of course, there's been undercurrents about that all along. We've all heard that for years, and they were so hard to line on that first the first contract, which was 4 teams, it was supposed to be for 12 years. And, we quote all the, the reasons how it got that big. But I think that the pandemic really raised the red flag for many of these athletic directors and college presidents, because regardless of the way these college presidents feel about their athletic department, those ones that have invested the money, we always use Alabama as a point, is paid more than their dividends.
That's right.
And,
the return has been greater than the money invested. You're right.
All right. Why don't you guys answer this question? There are 4 outstanding young coaches that are out there, and you can add one to it. But Jimbo Fisher, you would say they would be one, wouldn't you think? Georgia,
questionable. Go ahead.
Tell us about Georgia versus.
Well, Kirby, where Georgia loses not on talent, it's decisions on the sideline.
Fake punt.
Let me just give you one hint, guys. Having been on the sidelines at that level for a number of years, when a quarterback comes off the field in a huge game, he usually goes to the offensive coordinator or the guy that's calling the plays, right?
Right.
And sits down or puts the headsets on. Where does Kirby's quarterback go? To him. That's an ego thing. He's a defensive back. And a defensive back coach. I'm just telling you. I called the play when Alabama threw the down and out and won the national championship on the last play of the game when Tua was there. When J.R. Reed bit on that out pattern, I came up out of my chair and it was over at that time.
A young fellow named Devontae Smith caught that ball.
Exactly right, and a freshman.
Yep.
And he became a hero after that, didn't he?
You think about his career. He wins the national championship game as a freshman. Then he wins the Heisman Trophy as a senior. He wasn't too bad as a sophomore. And I argue that he had the best career of any Alabama player in the history of Alabama football.
But let me just tell you this,
Jimbo Fisher. I want to finish what I was doing. Jimbo Fisher, outstanding coach. Kirby Smart, outstanding coach by so many people. Clemson, of course, he's an outstanding coach. And Ole Miss. Those are 4 real good young coaches, wouldn't you say?
Well, we just heard Max.
What about Ed?
I know there are other guys out there, but I think those 4 are outstanding coaches. If we go up against Saban.
I do think that old Kiffin at Ole Miss is going to make a kind of a dent and do well. He just got so much personality and knows how to push everybody's buttons.
They don't have a big enough following. They don't have a big enough budget.
Well, you know it better than anybody. You were there.
What about LSU, Coach? Are they a sleeping giant, LSU?
We don't know about them yet.
LSU.
Orgeron made 5 coaches changes this past year. They got a battle going on against Brim going to come back after injury and get the quarterback, or is Max Johnson going to be the quarterback on the rise? They got most all their offense back.
He fired his offensive line coach after the spring game and then got the Arkansas offensive line coach.
Reed,
he's from Baton Rouge.
Guy from Arkansas, who is, by the way, an LSU guy.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of questions on that. So LSU's got everything in place, but when you fall from being as good as they were to a 5-5 team the next year, you got major internal.
I see red flags everywhere.
You're right.
Everywhere, I do too. So if they can overcome that, I think. Go ahead, Mike.
Max, I'll tell you this. I really believe that the surprise team of the year. This is really, I really believe this. Florida State will be the surprise team of the year.
They ain't got enough talent, Mike. They may break even.
But he's supposed to be a great coach.
But you got to have Mike, you don't matter how great a coach. If you ain't got the talent, the coach can't play.
Yeah, but I know. But what makes you think they don't have the talent? They've been able to recruit quite a bit.
They haven't been able to recruit. Check where they've been nationally. They ain't been in the top 20.
Oh, I know it. I'm just saying
They ain't got
surprise. This is a surprise team. They're gonna
Don't
be
say
They
I
don't
ain't got
have-
no,
they
they
don't-
don't have any.
They don't have any meat to go in the pot.
I'm
Not
not
enough
talking about a
athletes
top
on the
10
shelf.
team, but I'm talking about the team that was not any good. That's going to be at least a top 20 team.
No. They'll be a 6 or 6 team.
Hey, Coach, what about Auburn?
We'll watch it, Art. I'm going to remember you said that. I remember you said
What
that.
about
I remember
Auburn?
What I said.
What you think about Auburn?
Nobody knows about Auburn. They shut the public relations down. They don't want nobody to know.
I
don't know.
I think they'll be much better.
The offensive front is the key to it. I mean, you know, it's going to be really interesting to see if Bo Nix can have to run for his life. They lost their 3 starting wide receivers. And the offensive front is very good last year. I think they probably maybe 7-8 win team at most.
Well, their first 6 games.
I think they'll either be 9-3 or 8-4. I think Auburn's will be much better.
Their first 6 games include.
Why? Mike, tell me why.
Because of just because of the atmosphere, everybody's rah, everybody just can't wait to get going. Yeah, I think I tell you what, it looks like they got talent.
Well, they play Penn State, LSU, and Georgia the first 6 games.
I think they'll win 9-3 or 8-4.
You know, they talk about talent. I don't know Auburn's roster like I know Alabama's, but they got a really good tailback if he's healthy.
That's right, Big B.
But he is really the only one I can think of that you would say.
But they ain't got anybody to back him up if he got hurt last year.
Yeah. I'd say 6 and 6.
Yes.
I look at rosters and I say, all right, which one? How many players do they have that are going the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft?
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
I just think that they'll be an exciting team to watch, Auburn.
But when you at least expect Auburn to do well is when they do well. So that's what.
I don't think they'll be.
They got a whole new coaching staff in there. Now we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think he's something special. I think this guy is something special as a coach.
Well, the first 6 games, the third game's at Penn State.
I can't wait.
Then the 5th game's at LSU. Then they play Georgia at home. That's the first 6 of their 3 of the first 6.
Auburn has it. It's about as bad as
Texas
tough
A&M.
as Alabama. So Alabama has Miami. Auburn has Penn State. Those teams are probably considered about even. Then Auburn's got to play Georgia. There's not many teams are going to be as talented as Georgia. And then who else did you say they got?
LSU. Well, they got
LSU,
Akron, Alabama State, Penn State, Georgia State. Don't count them out.
Yeah.
LSU, Georgia, Arkansas, excuse me, Ole Miss, at Texas A&M, Mississippi State, South Carolina.
You know, Penn
Alabama.
State though doesn't impress me. I think they're not as good as people think. They haven't turned the corner like everybody thinks. So Auburn, Penn State, toss up.
Up there.
Georgia, they're gonna lose. LSU, Auburn. We've talked about the red flags at LSU. LSU's a question mark. They should be good, but I wonder. But I would still think that LSU would probably beat Auburn.
LSU opens up at UCLA.
Yeah. Where does LSU play Auburn? They play them at home. They'll have a chance. Auburn will beat them on the road.
At LSU.
Auburn, I think.
At LSU.
Yeah, Auburn hadn't won at LSU in forever, have they? Or
I know it. That's right. I like LSU at home. Yeah. So that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's such a great sport. There's question marks everywhere. And some people are going to be a surprise team, and some people won't.
Mm-hmm. Look for the surprise. All right, Max, have you really scouted it? And is there one team that you say, look out for this team? Because I'm going to tell you, I like to make little bets, and one of the bets you can make is if a team goes over or under the expected win total.
Yeah.
I did really good with that last year by doing my research. So, you find teams that people have missed out on, or otherwise you find teams that you think are way overrated. That are going.
Well, I think the question mark right now in the West is Ole Miss. They got most everybody back on the offensive side. Corral will be one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the conference. They played Alabama. They scored 48 on Alabama last year. They won the Auburn game and then lost it on that touch play at the end.
Didn't their
I
league?
think they got a chance. I think over and under is like 7.5 or something like that. I think they get a chance to probably win 8 or 9 ball games if they don't get anybody hurt. The defense is a little bit better, but not a whole lot. They're going to have to outscore anybody. They're going to play Publey at a slot back. He was the starting quarterback 2 years ago. And it'll be Corral and Publey, and they've got a couple wide receivers, guys coming up. So they're going to throw it 40 times in a ball game. So Corral just got to get, against Arkansas, he threw 6 picks. Against LSU, I think he threw 5.
I know.
So that's got to be correct. But I think that's a team worth watching.
Did their leading tackler leave and go to Kentucky?
Yes. Nobody knows why that happened.
Yeah. Of course, Max Howell is our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it's I always want to know what's for dinner, Max. You been doing any cooking?
I've been doing a little bit. Yeah, we this past week. This is fishing. My best friends went down to Louisiana. They fished 2 days and caught 140 speckled trout.
Wow.
Oh boy.
In 2 days. So I know what we'll be doing this weekend. They had a charter. They had a captain, had a guide, and all. They fished the backwaters. And they cleaned them all, by the way. And they brought back 30 or 40 pounds of fillets. So we're gonna cook for a crowd on Sunday night.
What is it? What type? How does that fish? Is that really good eating speckled trout?
Yeah.
Speckled trout is wonderful.
Wonderful. And all these. Yeah, these roll about 1.5 pounds to 2.5. Just good fillets.
Hey, Coach, I'm sorry.
It deep fried right off within the first day or so. You eat it in between 1 or 2 days after you get it. It's some of the best eating I think.
Is a fillet trout better than the fillet largemouth bass?
Oh yeah.
It is to me.
Fillet trout
now,
is
what
better.
they did, they brought them right in off the boat, filleted them, and they flash froze them right there on the spot. So
you gotta eat them early.
Right. That should have probably held the taste for them. I'll let you know next time. We're gonna cook them this weekend. I think I'm cooking for about 15.
Hey, Coach, I think
you're gonna have a ball. I tell you, you're living the life of Mac Dowell. This is your life, Mac Dowell.
Hey, Mike, I feel like after 81 years, I've earned it.
You're right. I think so too.
Coach, I think
it's exciting to be here, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. And what do you,
Yeah, I'm taking Abby to the airport. She's flying to Hawaii. No. But I got a thought from Max. On the 3rd of September, you're going to be indoctrinated into the Troy.
Inducted
to the Hall of Fame here at Troy University. I think you need to come the day before that afternoon on Thursday. We'll rent you a kitchen and you can cook for us that Thursday night.
I want him to enjoy that weekend and not have to work. That's I'm going to be there.
I'll tell you what,
I'm excited about that. That's an honor that I don't think most people that reach that level never expect that. Tell you the truth. And I was told
this is laid-back television at its very best, and we appreciate all our guys being here. Michael Amos from Great Beach, and Boris from right here at Troy and Goshen, and representing that area. Bill Rice, St. Junior. Everybody looking forward to a big weekend, Father's Day.
Now we got one more day.
Let's road trip to Mississippi. That's where we need to go.
But we'll be back with them, yeah.
Well, I tell you, it's great to have Max and have his fantastic insights and Forrest Lee. I mean, he can find information in 20 seconds. It would take me 2 days to find.
Well, happy Father's Day weekend, Coach.
You never can tell what he might find. That's what's funny.
Well,
I don't even know. Today is Thursday, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. Well, everybody keeps talking about Father's Day.
It's
Weekend. We're going to be here tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just got to know this, and I'll try not to be 8 minutes. I was 8 minutes late this morning, Max. Don't.
Uh-oh. Hey, that's hard. That's hard. When you hosting a show,
No, that's not
late.
But because it's laid back TV at its finest, I could just walk onto the set and just put on my microphone.
That's right. This is laid back television. And of course,
There
we
we go.
appreciate all of the sponsors very much.
The,
But Max, thank you so much for you being with us.
Wait, hold on. Let me say that before we go off there. Let me give you one more of this.
Guys.
All right, we're number one.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Right now, you can join Planet Fitness for no enrollment, $10 a month, no commitment.